What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of CCTV. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm here with my good friend,
Alec with a C.
Also, we have a guest appearance from the one.
It's me again.
Only bearded
Keenan Criken. It's me, not Alex or Alec. Very different name. But I'm
Alec
here.
Criken.
Alec Criken.
That's it. We're in some I guess some future Back to the Past pod here on Melrose Avenue. It's a studio that's in 70s themed with some weird like alien structures built within it. I mean, we could be teleported to some galaxy or dimension at any moment here. So before that happens, let me tell you a little bit about Quip.
Wait, this is good for an ad read. You can teleport to.
Let's teleport to an ad read. It's time for spring cleaning. Do you know what that means?
Spring cleaning?
Yeah.
Like clearing out your laundry or something? Or your old stuff?
Is it clearing out your laundry?
Close. It's cleaning out your mouth. Quip, there's an easy way to start with your brushing habits. Just in 2 minutes, twice a day, can help save and pave the way to a healthier mouth and mind. Do you guys like not having your teeth fall out of your mouth?
It's pretty ideal.
I haven't tried it though, so I don't really want to say until I've tried it.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Let me tell you about it. Let me try to sell this to you here because now the whole family can get refreshed with Quip. You and do you have a?
No.
Okay. Sorry about that. The new Kids Quip has the same 2-minute timer and guiding pulses as our original version, or their original. It's not mine. I don't own Quip.
Is everyone sharing the same brush? How's the whole family involved?
With no childish gimmicks, they can brush just like a grown-up. You got kids, guys?
No.
Let me tell you something about kids.
Okay.
I don't have kids either. These kids, they got some dirty mouths.
I was
playing Fortnite the other day. This kid had the dirtiest mouth I've ever heard in my life.
Why are you still playing Fortnite?
You could smell it through the internet?
Because Fortnite has a big... Enough about Fortnite. Let's talk about Quip, okay? The sensitive sonic vibrations for an effective clean that's gentle on your sensitive gums. Sometimes your gums bleed when you're fucking around with them. People brush too hard, and some electric toothbrushes are too abrasive. Built-in 2-minute timer pulses every 30 seconds to remind you when it's time to switch sides and help you clean your whole mouth evenly. Up to 90% of us don't brush for a whole 2 minutes or don't clean evenly at all. So that's why that's there. Also, it's the multi-use cover, works as a stand, mounts to mirrors, and slides over your bristles to pack and protect your Quip on the go. It's great.
So how does the whole family get involved? I'm still...
Are you asking me about the family?
Yeah, you brought that up.
I'm still kind of on that too.
Yeah.
Kids eat a lot of bad things, and you want to keep their mouth clean. So Quip, you know, the timed pulses, the bristles.
It's good for kids.
It's good for kids.
You'd be a good dad.
You would be a good dad if you keep your kids' teeth from getting cavities.
You gotta quip your kids' teeth into shape.
You have to quip your
Quip
kids.
them into shape.
Quip your kids into shape.
That's right. Exactly what you just said, Keenan. Exactly that. It declutters your sink or cabinet, makes traveling with an electric toothbrush easier when you get the multi-use cover. Plus, there are no wires or a clunky charger, and it runs for 3 months on a single charge.
What?
3 months.
3 months?
That's true. I've had mine for like 4 or 5 months. I haven't charged it at all.
Well, that's not 3 months. You haven't been using it.
It's better than 3 months.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess, maybe I'm not using it enough.
Maybe you're not using it enough. Yeah, maybe that's...
But, hey, lasts long.
The brush heads are automatically delivered on a dentist recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5. A friendly reminder when it's time to refresh and to stay committed to your oral health. 70% of us use old, worn-out bristles that are ineffective. You said you've been using yours for a little while here. Maybe it's time to...
I've changed the brush head.
Okay. Quip was one of the first electric toothbrushes accepted by the American Dental Association. They're backed by over 25,000 dental professionals, and they have thousands of verified 5-star reviews. Me and you do a review show. We know what it's like, what the 5-star means. It's very important.
You guys are all about those reviews now.
That's what monetizes as well. We love Quip. We love Quip because they sponsor this podcast. Also because they keep Alex's mouth from having dragon rot.
They do keep my mouth from having dragon rot.
It's very important in this day and climate. That's why we love Quip and why over 1 million happy, healthy mouths do too. Quip starts at $25, and if you go to getquip.com/cctv right now, you can get your first refill pack for free. That's your first refill pack at getquip.com/cctv. That's right. Thank you to Quip, and of course, thank you to all of our sponsors for letting us rent out, I don't know, biodomes. Kind of reminds me of that. I remember watching Biodome.
No.
What's Biodome?
You don't remember Biodome? God, was it Alec Baldwin that was in it?
No.
No, who's the... Stephen Baldwin, that's
Is that
right.
the
lesser
Alec
Baldwin?
Baldwin's
The lesser
brother.
Baldwin. That's really rude for Stephen Baldwin.
Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore, yeah, it was like some stoners, they got inside a biodome with some scientists, and basically that's the premise of the whole movie. They're just stuck in a dome in the middle of the desert, and they use their like water reservation tank as like a hot tub. There's some other very
never heard
key
of this.
scenes
I've
that
never heard of this.
build their characters outside from just being two fucking idiots. It gets wholesome towards the end.
So, and this reminded you of that?
That's a good point. I don't know why I made that reference. Keenan, you're here. You're back again on this podcast.
Yep.
I dragged you out. I was like, hey, come outside real quick.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, I'm right here.
Yeah.
Something happened to you recently. Something went down with you. It's pretty sad to hear.
Yeah. So there's a site called youtube.com.
We've heard of it.
That
I've seen it once or twice.
Yeah, I frequent on occasion. Have been for about 11 years making videos there. And sometimes I wonder why, because last week, with no notice, my channel randomly got full-on demonetized. Not just like one video, but literally I was unable to monetize any video on my channel. I just no ability to do that because YouTube's random bot algorithm, whatever, claimed that I was using reused content.
Okay.
Which I don't know what they're referring to. And it's like, if you read the whole page, it references like video games, music, movies, any usage of these could be under reused content with no better definition.
So you reached out to them, right? And did
Yeah.
they give you clarification as to what that means?
I basically went like all hands on deck and like messaged like the 4 different contacts I know that have ins with YouTube. One of them is like a direct employee that's in a different division. One of them is the Rooster Teeth. One of them was like basically all these different fields. And like 2 of them said, tough luck. One of them was like from Twitter when I made like a big stink about it, and they're like, we're gonna get right on that. And then, the one from my personal contact like finally got things reversed and like let me know. So it's back now, but like the fact that that could happen to anyone and has happened to a lot of creators apparently. There's been like this whole new epidemic of this bot that's just been like mass demonetizing a bunch of different channels with no like warning. Is pretty scary. And if they don't have the same contacts or like kind of ability to get this in front of someone that, someone of my size does, then they're just out of a job. So
Yeah.
it's scary times.
Wow.
It's crazy to me that they're not clarifying. Like, it reminds me of how if you use copyrighted music, right, they can claim the entire video.
Yeah.
It's like, how much of your content did they deem was reused content until it's like your entire channel gets demonetized?
Yeah,
You know
there's
what I mean?
absolutely no indication. I don't know if it was one video I put up and like, yeah, there's...
That's really strange.
And everything has
really
been recorded from either my stream or just me individually. So there is no like existing content on there that has come from another source that would have been considered reused.
What do you think would so reused content? It's like somebody made something and then you just re-upload their video. Is that kind of what it is, or
it's either so there's obviously like this other trend of like top 10 or highlights, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to take like the top 10 channels on YouTube and make a compilation of that, this may be an attempt to fight that kind of growing culture. That's just a guess, but like, that or like, genuine movie critics can't really upload full clips from movies anymore because it's like considered, reused content. So
it's so bizarre to me that they don't give any clarification for that.
Yeah. It's just like when you get to the size they're at, it's like, it's a lot easier for them to develop an AI that will then go and do your dirty work for you.
I feel like if you go for a manual reviewer, they should give you some sort of explanation, right? Like,
yeah, and I there's apparently like a system for getting a channel manager. Again, that's like limited to like only a top tier percentage of creators.
what do they do?
I don't have one. I haven't like put in my application yet for one, but now I will, because not having someone to talk to is like the end of the world for that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the legacy channels are under, I feel like, even more scrutiny, because if you have hundreds and hundreds of videos that you've uploaded over the course of 10 years, and YouTube sort of changes their rules like arbitrarily, you don't really know what back in 2009
Totally.
would get flagged. You know, whether it's, I don't know, a title. Notice that titles get flagged, tags get flagged, descriptions get flagged, thumbnails get flagged, audio gets flagged, visuals get flagged. So, yeah, whenever it screws up as bad as it did with you, I guess my problem with that is that YouTube has convinced us that there's always a person there. You know, even if it's a demonetization, there's always somebody there you can talk to. But when your channel gets flagged and there's no specific, as Alec put, reason for it, justification for it, it feels like a robot sort of took it upon themselves to end game you, and there wasn't someone that would do a manual review, because someone doing a manual review could just easily say, oh, this guy has been around for 10 years, I can look at his channel, why the hell would he be reusing content in the context that the robot says you've been reusing content.
And the scary thing is also that there's no automatic like list of premium channels or channels that are exempt from the automatic like robot kind of culling. You know, the fact that I just got grouped in with no warning is like really scary to me, because it means that, you know, it reminds me how small I am in the giant YouTube and Google company system, right?
Yeah.
And I had to jump through a ton of hoops just to get this problem, which was clearly just an error in front of someone. It took like 4 days, and it's like, that's 4 days that I'm not uploading videos. It's like 4 days I'm not making any money on the videos that are getting views. Like, I'm probably getting bumped out of recommended searches on YouTube because it's not monetized anymore. Like, I won't know what it's going to do to my channel for like another month. So it's a little scary.
I think like what would make sense to me is that if you do get flagged for something, like if you get flagged for used content, then obviously you would think that bot would have to list the video's specific instances of which it's catching that, and then the person who's manually reviewing it can see that, right? You would expect that, right?
Yeah, at the least
expect that.
That's just
right.
It just doesn't seem to be the case though.
No.
It seems like it's all hands off to the algorithm, to the bot that's marking that, but then the human aspect of it seems like there's very little hands in that, so it's strange to me.
The only like customized field that I got in the letter of why I was demonetized was the words reused content, and that was it, like in quotes. And then there's this entire paragraph on what might be reused content, but like that's all just like cookie cutter, like from their, you know, and it covered basically any content on YouTube. Like their definition of it was like anything that exists already on the internet. It's like, well, okay, I guess that's everybody. So yeah,
that's scary. And even like thinking about it on a larger scale of, so this is your business essentially. I mean, this is your livelihood, right? But you think about it also with channels like us. Like if that happened to us, that's 6-7 people's livelihoods, right?
Yeah. Same with my editors. I was like, I suddenly, I can't pay you to make a video because I'm literally just at a loss.
That's fucking
scary.
So
it's like,
so scary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've done enough like YouTube rants at this point. Something like that happens, I'm sure just like to you, it's probably not all that surprising that there's like you get screwed over in some way. What sucks the most is that like with Twitch, and you and I both do Twitch a lot, it's like there obviously is a hierarchy culture, we'll call it, where it's like some people you feel like they get probably a little bit more privilege than other people. Some people get like the hammer thrown at them over like things that other people don't do. It's like I feel like Twitch is that sort of culture existed for a while because it started out like smaller and it was like a niche, and you could observe it being like this weird community where, you know, even just chatting in IRL was just recently added because there was a demand of people being like, I want to film myself in a real life, real time or whatever. So it's still growing, and so I can understand the trials and errors that they're gonna have to like, how they get everyone the same playing field sort of thing. YouTube, I feel like they've established what they are from like almost the get-go, which was like people are gonna upload their videos and we're gonna like try to get those videos monetized and have the people that are interested in putting their ads on these types of videos put their ads, etc., etc. It was pretty understood across the board. They had this policy that they kept constraint for a long period of time, which was like, don't do this, don't do anything to harm yourself. Like that was right out the gate. I don't remember ever that there was a time where people were uploading like live leak footage or something like that, right? It's always been like, don't do this, you know, you will be punished for doing this, right? But over the course of like the past few years, it's like people that are getting caught out for doing things that clearly broke the rules are now screwing everyone else over to the point where we're at now, where the tiniest slip up can like not even in your case, you didn't even do anything wrong, but they had to implement something to catch slip ups like that that went off the radar and like started like executing people for not even doing anything wrong. Like we're past the point of here's a good middle ground. You know, it's like the PewDiePie Washington Post stuff happened, and we immediately went on the polar end. Like just people started losing all their revenue. They put on the yellow money symbol. They put in the YouTube heroes, the people that can like go through channels.
Is that
and
still a thing?
Moderate it. Yeah, it's still a thing. I mean, they never not did that. There's like people that have like more authority, I guess, over certain channels. They have like more flagging power and stuff like that.
That's so funny to me. It's like just the secret police, like of the snitches that are like
comment section.
Yeah,
Well, not even that, because the journalists too are on it as well. They tried to do the whole. Recently, the big thing was that there was like Coca-Cola ads on like racist videos, right?
Yeah.
Like videos that would normally be monetized. By the way, the process of getting monetization is already multiple steps. So if you go out of your way to get your channel monetized, and then you also start putting up racist videos, you're just an asshole. There's not like everyone can, like, the great dragon can come and start uploading videos and he'll immediately receive revenue.
Yeah.
That's not the case. They have to meet a bunch of qualifications and then they can get ads. And then if they decide to do something, like even me, if I decide to post like a porn video or something, like probably for the first several minutes, it's probably going to be monetized, right? Unless YouTube's visual bot catches like, a tit or something and then it immediately takes it off. But I could figure out a way to get porn onto my channel. But there's a good chance that it'll get flagged by people just watching, and then YouTube will come in and eventually see all the flags, and then some manual reviewer will be like, that's a strike, right?
Yeah.
Which is the way it should be. So when a place like Washington Post sees Pepsi ads or whatever the hell they said they saw in a racist video, it happens. Sometimes it gets through their loop, not Pepsi's fault, not necessarily YouTube's fault. They can't curate billions of hours of footage, like almost like a day, basically.
Yeah, well, that's like a similar case with the advertisers on the videos that had children involved in it, and then the comment sections were belittled with like pedophiles and all that. Like, there's no way for the advertisers to be beholden to what's in the comments, you know what I mean? And it's really sad to me too, because there are channels I've seen recently devoted to children's health. There's one called Toys for Special Kids, I believe, is like one of them, where they look at these children that have these different like medical cases, like super rare stuff, whatever. Some of them are like terminal illnesses, etc. And they just have a conversation with them, and they just talk with them and try to get to know them. And it's just pretty much just for educational purposes and just to show the world these children with these ailments. And all of their videos, every single comment section got disabled by YouTube, and out of nowhere, and they had no control over it. And they tried to get people to sign a petition to bring back the comment section. They, I think so far still unsuccessful, and it's been several weeks, but I think stuff like that, it's really sad. And it's just bringing back to advertisers. It's like it's so hard to be beholden to what happens in the comments of a video, which is just another layer on top of the content that's already in the video. And it's just leaving it to AI, leaving it to these bots. I think it's just, I get that YouTube is such a large platform now, and I mean there's hundreds and thousands of hours every minute being uploaded to YouTube, so it's impossible for a human to manually review everything. But definitely in the cases like where this is like people's livelihoods, it's like it is literally people's livelihoods. And the fact that anybody can just shut that off at any moment, it's just really scary.
Sorry to cut you off. I think
no worries.
what I've the best citation or the best whatever example of what you just said is basically like because it is a livelihood, but obviously there's people that will go out and say, well, it's like YouTube. You always knew that YouTube's like you couldn't possibly think YouTube's going to be your career forever, etc. But I think I read somebody say that they were working that worked many jobs that was doing YouTube at the time was pretty much comparing it to like you have a job and one day your boss just doesn't pay you for the work that you've been doing, and then when you go and you ask your boss, hey, the work I've been doing, how come I'm not getting paid as much? They just don't give you an answer. They just say because, or they just sort of, I guess, essentially fire you on the spot or stop paying you on the spot and don't give you a reason at all. And so it's not so much like, oh, I'm not a YouTube millionaire anymore. It's just more like there's not a reason. You know, at least with Twitch, people do get suspended pretty frequently for, you know, infractions and things of that nature. But I feel like they always have an answer. You know, I feel like I have an answer.
You know why something happened.
Right.
You get to talk to someone who's like, you're being banned for this, or like, you're being suspended for 30 days because of this. And it's like, okay, I messed up for this reason. Yeah. YouTube, like the place that I sympathize with them is on how to balance the relationship between creators and advertisers, because you know, Google's been losing money on YouTube for years. Like, it's just fact, like how expensive it is to run it. So they need to maintain a certain level of kind of relevancy with the people that hold the money in this country and every other country, which is brands and big companies, right? So to do that, you've got to maintain a certain quality of like viewing experience and of content, so that these ads will want to show themselves on your videos. So therefore they're having to roll all these different rules out to try to address the concerns coming from these ad companies. The problem is these ad companies don't really know much about this medium, and they don't really need to, because they're not really concerned with, you know, the intricacies or the daily life of a YouTuber. They just want to know how many eyeballs they're going to get on their product. And it's a shame. I'm hoping that advertising is going to change in the next couple of years, because I think we're missing out on a whole new, like, when you see a good, like, you know, like, let's say a sponsored video with a you know, a YouTube channel or a personality or whatever, where they genuinely care about the product, and it's like a good fit for them and their audience, that is 10 times more likely to sell and, like, you know, interesting than a pre-roll or mid-roll ad. So I think hopefully we're gonna get to a point where eventually the savvy companies are gonna learn more about this ecosystem and then meet us halfway, and therefore make it less of a pressure, I guess, on these big YouTubes to just automatically clamp down on anything that doesn't fit their small, you know.
That's kind of what I feel is going to happen as well. I feel like advertisers are becoming more keen to what may not seem as publicly best for their brand. Like, if somebody were to put advertisements on our videos, like some of the videos we have are pretty raunchy or whatever, it might seem like, oh, this is weird. But if they get a lot of views, you're still reaching the audience, you know what I mean? I think that some of these advertisers are starting to learn that. I feel like these videos that are like really weird, really strange, but they get a ton of views because people just like watching that, I think they'll become aware that they will reach an audience of a lot of people, regardless of like whether the content to their investors seems like, what the hell is this, you know? I feel like a way I can kind of see that happening right now already is like corporate Twitter accounts. They're all fucking weird. They're all starting to become really like memey and strange, because they know that's what gets people. Like, people are like, you look at Arby's, for instance, their marketing is great, because they know what people want to see. Their Instagram, they put like pop culture references and stuff in every post they make. So I feel like advertisers are starting to become keen to what may not seem the most public friendly on the surface, but is still reaching a large audience. So maybe that'll help in the future, I think. But I mean, aside from that, what solutions do you think there are on YouTube's end? What can they do you think, to combat this?
I think communication is probably the main thing. I mean, if they were very honest with us and they're like, all right, look, this is why this is such a hard problem for us, and this is why we're having to add all these new rules. Like, I get they can't explain everything, because then there's gonna be people that work around it, and they don't want to empower them with like the tools to avoid their own, you know, AI. But, you know, to have situations where you get demonetized, you don't know why, you have, you know, videos that just get blocked in countries or striked, and, you know, to have like 5 seconds of a song invalidate the rest of the 2-hour-long piece. Like, there's just a lot of these things that are anti-creator, and it really goes against their initial, you know, speaking about like where Twitch is now and where YouTube was back in the day. You know, YouTube's original, wasn't there a catchphrase like "for the creators" or something like that? Like, it was, you know, it was YouTube, like, you make your videos. Amateur filmmaking was their whole shtick, and so now that isn't the case, and we can accept that. Like, we understand why, or a lot of us do, but we're having to just make guesses at that. Like there's no big blog posts where they are being very candid and talking to creators and being like, okay, you know, we started off as this, that was great, but also realize, you know, for the vision of what Google wants as a company, it needs to be this. And it's like, maybe people aren't gonna like to hear that, but I'd prefer them to tell me than for me to just have to guess and then get, you know, smacked down by random bots.
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at Susan Wojcicki's YouTube, she's clearly not a YouTuber, never YouTubed a day in her life. She's probably a good CEO.
What does she put on her channel? I'm not familiar.
I just like, nothing, dude. They made her a channel so she could put stuff like, hey, it's me, Susan Wojcicki. I'm here on YouTube. Just wanted to say hello. Like that kind of garbage. But yeah, it's for creators. Supposed to be for creators by creators, not by creators anymore. Because you know what the hell. Ads. I think we're past the point of like, let's just put ads on anything. I have a problem with certain ads just being on like kids channels. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It never has. Great job, Ryan's toy reviews probably racked up millions. You know, showing Pepsi and Bridge tire ads to kids. Not sure that's profitable for any company ever, and I've talked about this multiple times. Just doesn't make sense. You know, okay, our content by all means could be edgy, but at least the ads that these kids channels that are getting would go a lot further on our channel, where we have that age bracket of people that would be buying the stuff, whereas the kids don't. So kids stuff being monetized never made much sense to me to begin with. So the fact that there's like celebrity kids now that blew up from YouTube and they play with toys, like I can see toy companies going another way. Sure, that makes sense. That's about it though. Kids shows and toys. But even then there's like FTC regulations for kids shows having kid commercials, you know what I mean? Like certain shows can't sell their own stuff. There's a whole thing with that just on television. So going to YouTube now, there's a whole bunch of, it's like an outlaw landscape, and YouTube slowly tries to like hammer down on one thing, but they end up hammering down on like an entire, you know, demographic they don't even think they realize. For example, with the gun stuff that was happening, they decided to just go ahead and just regulate all gun channels and demonetize all of them.
Oh yeah, they went full scorched earth on that.
Which is like, back in the day, if you can recall, FPS Russia was one of the biggest YouTubers.
Yeah, absolutely.
He wouldn't survive nowadays because of the heavy regulations.
He was also in jail, so.
Right. I'm just saying, back in the day, people used to watch him just blow crap up in his backyard with guns all the time. It was entertaining. I'm sure ad companies loved it too, because cool, we put a Coca-Cola on and some guy driving a tank through a McDonald's drive-thru. It's pretty badass, right? Nowadays, just that stuff doesn't fly anymore. And like I said, YouTube just like purges things across the board way too much. The political channels are now being like wiped out. You'll have even people from different parts of the political spectrum both have the same complaints. It's not just, I don't want to sit here and make the complaint that it's conservatives are getting heavily. I don't even want to make that argument. I just think both sides, because you'll have people that, you know, are in the LGBTQ that have complained specifically because they're being targeted for certain words like gay.
If you say gay or like have it in a title or tag,
YouTube will say that it's controversial, and they'll get flagged,
That's
right?
crazy.
And then you have the opposite side, which is somebody just reporting the news of like someone being gay and, you know, whatever. Or again, like the conservative channels that might be talking about guns, might be talking about the amendment. It's a mess across the board. YouTube has no way. It's like they're like, oh, this is the problem. Here's a temporary Band-Aid, but it's like
each Band-Aid
nullifies everyone all at the same time,
and is ruining like lifestyle, like you're saying. Like it's like the crossfire of demonetizing all gun, you know, related media. Suddenly every Call of Duty YouTuber is like out of a job. I've heard about this, like, because it's like, oh, they make realistic gun shooting sounds, and it's like, well, YouTube picks that right up, and suddenly.
Right, because if you're like, my review of the like the M14, and YouTube are like, that's a gun, you can't do that. And like, no, it's PUBG.
So will they demonetize the video or the whole channel at that point?
It
depends.
Video.
I mean, there's also this gray, mysterious sliding scale of this, and I know we've been talking about YouTube complaining for like about 30 minutes now, but so CPM is like, this is kind of like, you know, behind the curtain for a lot of people that aren't YouTubers themselves, but CPM is kind of like clicks per, monetizable click per view sort of thing. So it's like 1,000 views, how much money you're gonna make. Depending on your channel's kind of quality of audience, you're served different ads that pay out different click per view.
What determines quality of audience? What does that mean?
Demographic, maybe, but there's literally no indication on that. So, for example, I've got a VOD channel on YouTube, which is like all my Twitch VODs of, the 3 or 6 hour long stream that I'll put on this channel. I also have my highlight video channel, which has been, my main one for 11 years. My highlight video channel earns half as much per 1,000 views as my VOD channel does, even though it's the same content. It's literally like a stream uncut and a stream that's cut. So
what they do is they change the algorithm, right? So they like I said, arbitrarily they'll change it. They won't tell anyone because they don't want anyone to figure out what the algorithm is to make the most money as possible. So we've had years where it was like for watch time, like you need a lot of watch time, so people made longer videos. Now it's like keep it within the 10 minutes, but I think still long format videos do better because it's more minutes that people are watching, but also the retention plays a big part. So people click out of your video, you start losing the. There's a whole bunch of crap that goes into it. YouTube's never really clear about it, but obviously we've realized that it exists because we talk to each other and can narrow it down. There's also in terms of just straight demonetization, there's like things that I've found out like that through the shadows that YouTube also pulls off, but I'm not entirely sure if it's on purpose, and I think I've talked about this previously, but channels that do get flagged for certain stuff, they become less relevant in terms of search feed, like search functionality.
That's certainly true.
The related box, which is pretty big, and even in terms of the subscription box.
Well, CC was a big example of that, right? After the community strike.
I feel like I'm a conspirator, though, for saying that. Because I guess you've probably heard when we got a strike for the Tide Pod video. So the Tide Pod video went up initially, and it was several, I think, weeks after it went up that YouTube decided to say, we're going to start now banning any Tide Pod content like the Tide Pod challenge because it's harmful or whatever. And they only did that because of the backlash that the media received with the whole Tide Pod challenge. Kids are now doing it. So YouTube went back on it, and it took them weeks before they found our video and decided to say, you know what, this isn't appropriate anymore. And so they gave us a strike, right?
That's fucked that they can do that retroactively. Like, they can implement a new regulation of some sort and retroactively ban content.
Yes, that would strike you
crazy.
after the fact.
That's fucking asinine. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, we're not going to start striking it, and if we uploaded it, it's like, that's our fault. But, hey, 3 weeks later, what if you're out of town? You can't even, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example where you can't just go back and take the video down.
That's fucked up. It's like buying cigarettes at 18 here, and then the next day they change the age to 21. A cop stops you, you have cigarettes, you get arrested.
I'm not going to die on the... I should be allowed to eat a Tide Pod. This is America, hell. Even though I strongly believe in that. But what I found out through that strike is that it took a heavy toll on the channel because it took months for the strike to go away, 3 months for the strike to go away. But during that time frame, like all of our aggregate views immediately dropped by like at least 30%. And that was not like, Tide Pod video went up and people stopped watching.
Yeah.
It's like people were watching pretty consistently all the way up until the strike.
Yeah.
As soon as we got the strike, you could literally see the dip. Like the day of, you saw the dip, and it stayed down. And I tried doing my research. I've talked to some people that are bigger channels, and they've all been like, yeah, if that happens, you're kind of screwed, to be honest with you. Yeah, you're screwed. And I was like, is there a chance, is there a hope after the strike that YouTube will say, hey, you've been a good boy, you can go back into the related feed? And they're like, no. The only way to break out of that, apparently and allegedly, and I'm not sure if this is true, is if you have a video that goes viral. So you need a consistent amount of viral videos before you're placed back into the preferred related search. So when you look up videos with cat or dog in the YouTube feed and you see a bunch drop down, it's not based off of, unless you filter it, but upload date or anything like that. It's based off of who's basically packaged their video the best, who has the cleanest record, and who has had the most consistent views to belong in that spot.
Yeah.
So that's why you'll typically see the same people sort of, when you look up like the same sort of stuff, as it's happening, like challenges and stuff, you'll usually see the same YouTubers be very far up there because they have a clean channel. But you know what? It's not clean. Our search feed. Isn't that right, guys?
Filthy.
Our search feed is very filthy.
What?
You know why? you have a. Sorry, what?
Did you say something?
I was trying to say something, but I got caught on my tongue.
That's okay.
How do you protect yourself from Big Brother?
Like the all-seeing eye? Mm-hmm. The eye of Sauron? Watching every single one of us?
Yes.
I don't know, dude. I don't protect myself.
You should try ExpressVPN. Have you heard of it, Keenan?
I think they asked me to do how to read at one point.
Let me tell you about it. Admit it. You think cybercrime is something that happens to other people. You may think that no one wants your data, or that hackers can't grab your passwords or credit card details, but you'd be wrong.
Why?
Because stealing data from unsuspected people on public Wi-Fi is one of the simplest and cheapest ways for hackers to make money. Okay? Ever been to Starbucks and you're like, uh-oh, where's my credit card? It's in my pocket. But why is someone charging it while I'm sitting here?
At Starbucks?
Probably wouldn't be at Starbucks. Probably when you go home like several
That's a
days
ballsy
later.
hacker.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool hacker.
Props to him, actually.
Yeah.
Or her.
When you leave your internet connection unencrypted, you might as well be writing your passwords and credit card numbers on a huge billboard for the rest of the world to see. That's why I decided to take action. To protect myself from cyber criminals, I use ExpressVPN. That's right.
You use it when you stream, right?
I don't use it as much when I stream.
I think that
But it is
when you're streaming.
a good idea to use when you stream because people can DDoS you.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I'm not using it currently. I've already been DDoSed once. So anyway, ExpressVPN secures and anonymizes your internet browsing by encrypting your data and hiding your public IP address. ExpressVPN has an easy-to-use app that runs seamlessly in the background of your computer, phone, or tablet. It's very true. It's just a little thing. You click, boom, go. It gives you a bunch of little hacking numbers. I don't know what it means. And then you're safe, dude. You're all of a sudden your IP is showing up in Antarctica somewhere. No one can touch you. You're literally the god of the internet. Turning on your ExpressVPN protection only takes one click. Using ExpressVPN, I can safely surf on public Wi-Fi without being snooped on or having my personal data stolen. For less than $7 a month, you can get the same ExpressVPN protection that I have. And ExpressVPN is rated the #1 VPN service by TechRadar and comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Protect your online activity today and find out how you can get 3 months free at expressvpn.com/CCTV. That's expressvpn.com/CCTV for 3 months free with a 1-year package. Visit expressvpn.com/CCTV to learn more.
It's really cute when you guys see it together.
It's kind of a thing.
We try to be
sometimes
cute together. Great. Well, I think we've really talked enough about this.
We've beaten that YouTube horse dead twice.
We hate YouTube.
Absolutely.
We hate YouTube. We hate YouTube.
YouTube, don't hate you. I actually love your platform, and I think you do better, is all I'm saying.
You're fucking backpedaling.
Don't be
now.
sorry. Be better.
Yes, exactly.
But you've been on Twitch more?
Yeah, you know it, pal. I've been streaming 6 days a week, which is why my voice sounds like a frog. It's because I'm always...
What happened? Sorry, you seen this? Isn't this like the thing from Star Wars?
Which
the thing that rolls?
Oh, like a droideka. It could be.
Oh, yeah.
Should we... No, I'm not flexible enough.
So I don't know if this thing turns on or not. I don't think it does.
So did you just like ask me a question and then try to immediately derail?
Yeah, sorry. This thing I was trying to do pull-ups on it. Yeah, dude, you've been streaming on Twitch. What have you been up to on Twitch nowadays? What do you stream?
You know, dog, I stream everything on Twitch. You know, I'm everywhere.
Fortnite. That's the most popular game right now.
Fortnite. Can't get enough.
We love Fortnite.
That's where it's at.
Fortnite has the biggest prize pool out of any other online like tournament prize pool ever.
It's because Epic's printing money.
Actually, printing V-Bucks. Epic's turning V-Bucks into real money. They've invented a currency. Epic and Fortnite is actually like just a country that exists in the cyberverse.
Epic and Fortnite is a country.
And we're all given the money.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Dude, this ExpressVPN talk has me on something.
Yeah, you're really in this deep web right now.
So you're streaming on Twitch. Where you've been role playing recently.
That's right. A big change for me. You know.
Okay. Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah, I've been role playing. You know, we were talking about this before the camera started rolling, and sorry for everyone for missing this out, but I'll role play in anything. You name me a game, I've probably role played it already. You
actually, the other day I noticed that you were, I was hanging out with you.
Where are you?
Offline. Wait,
no,
online.
we don't hang out offline.
Yeah, online. And you were gatekeeping a little bit.
Was I?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You were like,
oh yeah.
You were like, I was the first to role play.
I was, if you look back, I was the first role player.
Of what?
Just in time.
Just Earth, I think.
Shit.
Yeah. I started when I was on the recess field when I was 6 years old. I was LARPing.
How did you discover role play?
I didn't know what it was. I was
No?
I was literally telling stories. This is actually how Criken, like the character, came from.
Okay.
Was like I would be on the recess field when I was a kid, and I would be telling stories of like, you know, okay, you're in this mansion and like on the left you see like the wind howling and then like the wind shatters and a bat
my
flies
God.
through. Like, what do you do? And then my friends are like, turn and shoot the bat. And then it's like, you shoot the bat and it tries floating away. Like, what? And like, I literally did like a choose your own adventure LARP.
You were like a dungeon master
Yeah.
on the playground.
I had-
Like 15 minutes on the playground every day.
I played like one video game. It was like, I think Super Mario 64. And then I was like, this is the best entertainment there is. And I like wanted to instill interactivity into like anything
Were
I did
you
in my
role
life.
playing as Mario? when you were
No, I
playing
was role playing
Super-
as Criken. Criken was
Okay.
my like puppet master, little demon dude that was like running this haunted mansion, and like my friends would have to like Resident Evil style like go room to room and like solve puzzles, and I would play like a zombie and I'd come at them.
You
and they'd
know,
have to like
they're like they got like the choose your own adventure like Goosebump books back then that
Yeah.
probably existed around your age.
Yeah, you can get them from
I
the
read those
Scholastic
too.
book fairs.
yeah.
Right. So it's like that existed. Like someone had to write that.
Oh, so you're throwing flame at my.
I'm just
I was
saying
the
it
first
sounds
role
like
player.
you probably read the adventure books, then went ahead
No.
and then plagiarized them on the
But how
playground.
much more
Alright.
fun is it to live
I
out
didn't
those
do that.
things than to read it? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I feel like reading it, it's it's better for you.
When's the last time you read a book?
All right.
When's the last time I read a
When was the
book?
last time you were outside?
Why do I have to read a book? Why can't I read news articles and stuff? Why do I have to read a book?
You don't read news articles.
Why do I have to read? I
Read
do
Twitter.
Okay, it's the same thing, dude. It's literally the same thing. You're still reading, are you not?
Yeah,
You're
but
uninvited to
Do I
my,
have to like?
my LARP
Do I
nights.
have to all of a
Okay.
sudden like read like J.K. Rowling's stream of thought and consciousness that she changes, a decade later anyway?
What are you talking about?
Don't you do GTA RP?
I do.
This is where this started. He's coming at me because I flamed him for copying my roleplay thing.
Dude.
I didn't
Oh,
copy-
you guys got beef
We
about
do
this.
have beef. I actually
Oh
didn't
my
come on the show.
goodness.
I obviously
There's
come
no-
on the show
there's
for
no-
this. I only came because you were going to be on here.
There's
Oh,
no,
thanks.
Yeah.
there's no. He didn't even know you were gonna be on the show. He just wanted to talk smack about this.
See, I'm
about
listening
this.
to what he's saying.
Yeah, don't listen to him.
Okay. This
Trust him.
genre of Grand Theft Auto and roleplay.
Yeah,
What
it's
do you
been
think
it's
about
been hot. Yeah, I mean, as someone that's like done roleplay stuff for a few years now,
I've done it a little bit longer than you, but
okay, dude.
Okay.
It's really cool to see like GTRP has really kind of become this like most distilled version of it, where GTA has got the most features of almost any game, and to then systemize those around like these closed loop interactions that are all run by people allows for just like infinite emergent narratives and storytelling. Like you can have, when cops are all players and they report to a crime scene and either they have to chase you in their cop car or you're dead on the floor and they have to revive you and piece together the mystery on how you died. Like there is all these different stories that kind of begin and end at random, and the fact that it's all streamable means that all of these servers are running their own narratives constantly, and yeah, it's been really cool to see all the creativity on there.
I feel like I could talk about just role play for hours, honestly, and like its inception into multimedia, like video games like Grand Theft Auto, primarily because, as you just mentioned, for example, the cop stuff that happens. What I find most interesting about that is like if you wanted to say play cop, and it's certain servers, they're very dependent on like how hard or how easy it is to become a cop on that server, we'll say. Like you actually will have to take on the role almost in real life to be able to act the role out in the game. So for example, I think this applies to people that do like the nurse and doctor role play in these games, is like you actually have to know a certain amount of information outside of just improv. I feel like people get that confused where improv's can be very easy if you're already good at like just acting as a character and stuff. You just go in and be like, oh, there's a fly on the wall, and you grab it or whatever, like, right? But how would you approach this? Right. But let me expand on that though. But approaching a situation from say like you're a doctor and you're also interacting with a large amount of people on like a pretty daily basis, where they might have a multitude of things happening with them, and you have to be as accurate as you possibly can in that role. So if someone comes in and they go into a car accident, how would you best assess that situation, and then how would you then amplify your character. So if your character's a really goofy doctor, like you have to act this scenario out, but also be able to treat the patient and also be able to go through the procedures that you normally would if someone was checking into the hospital, all this stuff. So that I think is like makes it even more interesting for people to watch, aside from just, oh, he just presses heal and then he heals, right? That's essentially what happens.
Yeah.
But you do have to
There's a procedure
explain
to
what
it
you're
and
doing, right? And
Yeah.
you'll get tested and stuff. People will test you on certain
I think
things.
what's super helpful is like everyone that I've talked to. Well, first off, like I love D&D, like Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's such an amazing creative exercise, and a lot of people that I talk to either have already play it and love it, or have secretly been interested in playing it but have been too intimidated to start.
Yeah.
Are you in that category?
I've been into it for years.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But it's what I think is really cool about GTRP is like, it gives you enough restrictions and procedure so that you can yes and on like all these different levels, versus what's intimidating to most people about role playing is like you're coming at it purely from like, sky's the limit, like there's a fly on the wall, let me catch the fly, or I become the fly. Like, it's like there's no rules. So you're like, wait, I can do anything? And then that's like too much, so they kind of shut down. So in GTA, it's like, okay, gravity is real, gunshots will kill me, and like doctors, I have to pay them to heal me.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
role play in the confines of the
and it's
game.
like with all these knowledge, like I already know what I can and can't do. I meet someone, he punches me, I'm like, this is gonna hurt. I'm gonna have to spend money to fix this. Therefore, fuck you for punching me. And then it's like, it's there's like a whole process to it, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's different than D&D where it's like, I see a tree, I cut down the tree. It's like, I feel
like,
it. So it does. I think I like that role playing has become. I want to say mainstream, maybe not super mainstream, but it has become so normalized. I feel like you have these channels like Critical Role, for instance, like they have done a whole lot for D&D culture in terms of bringing it to the masses, and now everybody's interested in it now. I think it's great. I think everybody secretly wants to be somebody that they're not. I feel like RPing is always like, it's a fun way of doing that. And
living out fantasies.
Exactly. Everybody wants to do that. And for a long time, it's like, oh, this is nerdy. This is nerdy. It's just like, this is a geeky thing to do. But in the inside, they're like, oh, maybe it's actually kind of fun, But now I feel like nobody cares anymore. Everyone just does it, which is how it should be.
It's imagination, though, too, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone has an imagination.
Absolutely.
Not every single day you kind of want to be doing what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like an outlet for people to be able to experience stuff. For example, like Andy just mentioned the cop stuff. I went to college. I initially went to college for law because I was always interested in like police work. And in Arma, which was like a military simulator, but they started messing around sort of like the same person that works the No Pixel server for Grand Theft Auto is the same one. Coil is the same one that was working on the Arma server. And back then it was very, very light, but you still had 100 people, and you had police officers, you did criminals. Criminals could do crime.
Yeah, I played Arma Life.
Right, yeah. Well, buy houses, all that stuff. That was there. It was very basic, but it was all there. And it was pretty interesting being able to take on the role of the police officer. And I was like, oh, you get the police lights, you get the protocols, you have to understand the case laws, you have to understand the 10 codes, you know what I mean? You can arrest the guy, put the cuffs on him, put him in jail, then, book him, charge him, and then send him off to jail. I was like, this is pretty much, you're getting almost the whole experience in like the shell, right? Aside from like the goofy things that happen because it's, a video game and people will like crash a helicopter into a building and you're supposed to be like, oh man, are you okay? It's just, that doesn't happen in real life, obviously. But I think Grand Theft Auto is the next level of that to me, where it's like, the Rockstar trying to make GTA as real as they possibly can for it. Even though it's very old now, believe it or not. I think it's like 10 years old.
GTA 5?
It
came out
10 years.
No, it's not 10 years. I think it came out in 2013.
2013?
Yeah.
It's like 6 years old.
Maybe 7 years. 7 years. Okay. Yeah.
6, 7 years.
Just maybe feels like 10 years because they haven't updated anything.
Feels like it's been around forever.
Add microtransactions to it.
Yeah.
But with that said, you have like, now it's like they've built the game and they have everyone, you have the NPCs that are walking around and like talking to each other, and they structured it as if it's like you're a character in this world. And now it's like, the modders are putting layers onto it where you're a character in this world, but you can do real world things and you can take on real world jobs that GTA does normally, because you can't just open up a bar or you can't be like working at the hospital in GTA. It's not what the game was intended to be.
It's funny because I had this prediction years ago where when I was younger, I think I was like maybe 12, 13, I used to play this mod for GTA San Andreas called MTA, Multi Theft Auto. It's essentially 5M, but it was for GTA San Andreas. And it was pretty big at the time. And because GTA San Andreas was like such an older game by the time that came out, the servers could be huge. So they had roleplay servers on it that were up to like 200, 300 players, like huge. You can take a job, you can do whatever, all in the confines of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. They had like minigame servers, they had like DayZ servers even at one point, and they were great. I mean, it was awesome. It worked really well. I played that for years. I played that for a couple of years on and off. And I remember when GTA 5 came out, and I was playing through it, and then specifically when it came out on PC, I was like, fuck, if they made an MTA style mod but the GTA 5 engine, that's gonna be crazy. And then without even knowing, 5M came out, and it was like exactly that. And then now it's blown up to the proportions that it is now, and I was like,
I think people have been experimenting with it, like just as you mentioned, because like you're right, San Andreas did exist, and that did work successfully. Although, if I can recall, it was basically text to speech. So it was like,
on MTA.
Yeah.
No,
so,
it was full on. It was like they
in
had
San Andreas had voice.
Oh, they didn't have. Oh, you mean like text chat? You mean? Yeah. It was just text chat.
Yeah. So that was the only downside is that when you're a criminal in that, you'd have to type out like gets out of car, yells, "What do you want?" And then the cops have to be like, "Get on the ground."
Yeah.
It's kind of like the caveat with like World of Warcraft roleplay servers where it was all like mainly type, and I think that's what deters people the most because you're reading, you're not. Yeah. It's like a read adventure rather than like. You actually hear the characters, you hear their voices and all this other stuff. So that's very cool.
It's totally different when I think your point of Critical Role was really helpful because, once you bring voice into it, you have actors, and actors obviously can put on characters on the fly and have incredible range of talent. And, Critical Role is an example of Dungeons & Dragons, which has previously been either this like nerdy or kind of hard to understand world that is now brought to life by these vibrant voices that can play characters and inhabit them in ways that you're not used to as an ordinary viewer.
I mean, fucking Vin Diesel, the manly man of Fast and Furious, was playing Dungeons and Dragons, and he loves it.
Did you know? What's that movie? Is his? It's like the Witch Hunter one.
The one that came out somewhat recently.
Yeah, that's actually based on his D&D character. And he was executive producing it and was like, I want this and this and this, and he was like, this is what the character is, and then they built the world around it. Which is that's like the nerdiest dream I could have had.
I can't even.
Yeah.
Imagine all of the stories to the scale of even Game of Thrones and to all of these things that individuals create and just in the confines of their own D&D campaigns, how well that would translate over to any media. If you had the chance to do that, fucking jump on it. Vin Diesel made the right choice.
Yeah, I've definitely been thinking about that a lot too. It's
great.
Yeah.
What's cool too is it's still evolving. I feel like.
Absolutely.
I feel like with Grand Theft Auto, it blew up last year too. There was a little point in time where it definitely had a spike because of the implementation of 5M, as you just mentioned, which is the thing that basically allows modders to make their own servers and fuck around with them and add different scripts and whatnot. And when that happened initially, there's a couple servers that had a peak on Twitch and people would watch them, and that seemed like that was the biggest it was going to get. But I think over time, because the modders had more time to work on the servers, they become a lot better, which is why Coil, someone that's really passionate about just the whole concept of what exactly we're talking about, just can I make this into a role play, amazing role play experience? And he loves role playing himself. He's very good at it. And so he's also a coder. And so he's able to get a server, that he's been working on for months and months and months, just out of his own side project to be as good as it is now. It's still very much it still feels like it's put together by glues and, by glue and popsicle sticks. And that's how it's running. And so there's definitely a sense of you just have to put yourself in it. So not everything works together, but the concept is there, the idea is there. You can do certain things that you normally can't do. And I think that idea itself has been executed well enough that I think it'd be great if Rockstar or a company as big as Rockstar can look at this and be like, there's something we can tap into here.
Yeah.
Whether it's we could sell clothing for people to make microtransactions and make our money back if that's the avenue that because they're always going to want money back. So there's all kinds of different ways that they could approach it.
That was
especially with Grand Theft Auto 6 coming.
Yeah, that was my follow-up I was going to ask you is how do you guys feel? Do you feel that these types of role play experiences and these mods and all that, you think it's better handled in the hands of individuals, or do you think if Rockstar went out of their way to make their own client, do you think that would have been been better. Because from what you're saying, again, it's all held together by glue and popsicle sticks, but there's that certain allure to it, you know, where it just kind of, like Arma 3 Life was the same thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it is kind of janky, and you do require a little bit of imagination.
Arma never
for stuff.
capitalized off of it though, you know, even when it got as big as it got. I mean, Daisy is a great example of Arma, developers for Arma saying like, okay, this exists, but I mean, whatever. Like,
yeah. Do you feel that developers should go, like for Rockstar, for instance, if they make whenever they make GTA 6, do you think they should go out of their way to provide a client like this in the sense of 5M, or do you think that they should just stick to a traditional single player multiplayer and let other people take care of that?
I think they'd
both
be smart
successful,
to.
right?
Yeah, I mean, like
there's
it's
no.
yeah, it's like if they don't, then they can rely on, like, it's kind of what Bethesda does, right? They release like a somewhat buggy, like really great RPG, like wide scale free roam game, and let the viewers like populate it with the crazy mods that will get you coming back. And they recently kind of tried to get a hand in that, but I don't think that worked out so well. On Rockstar's situation, I've actually been in situations where I did some consulting after college with game design and talking with like publishers about like trying to help them understand the streaming and YouTube atmosphere. And I've met with people that are shareholders in Rockstar, and I've been like trying to impress upon them how big things like GTA Roleplay is, because this is clearly where the sustainable interest is. Like GTA as a game has run out of interest in like stuff to do on Twitch and whatever years ago. But with all the modding and this roleplay kind of world that's been built out of it, it's now become this hotbed for these stories that every day is something fresh, and you'll keep tuning in for it. And so I thought they were going to do something like that for Red Dead, but they really kind of gutted the multiplayer of Red Dead and made it even less of those systems than was in the single player game. So I'm hoping, based on how long Red Dead's multiplayer has lasted versus GTA 5's and why it's lasted, somebody in that company is paying attention and can like make it, you know, a change for GTA 6. I think it's fair to be concerned about the microtransaction implications of that, but I don't know. I think
they'd be very well off to like rent out servers in some aspect. Like obviously they're not going to be able to make like a bunch of servers that everyone wants to play on. Like Minecraft's a good example of people running their own servers, although Minecraft itself doesn't even understand like how to manage it, because they've hit them with, you know, cease and desist. Like they made, or anyway. But if they rented out the servers, they charge people to run the server, but gave them enough like mod tools to be able to like make it like what they wanted to be.
That's the thing,
Where it's a mini game server where people can do like the crazy like Hot Wheels racetracks with the GTA cars, or it is like more serious like the role play things, and people can like downscale the cars and make them like more real sim. I think they'd have at least a good model. And then if they want to add the microtransactions, and if someone wants to have this car or whatever, you know, there's a lot of different ways they could go about it if they want to, whether they want to or not. I don't think there's anyone out there that's doing like a specific, this is a game where you play a character, you know, like Gary's mod has like tried with like the roleplay stuff. Identity is a game, you probably heard of it.
Yeah.
That like had this grand scale vision, but like when you see it, you're like, that's not being executed very well. So I don't think there's anything yet. There's a demand, obviously, a high demand, especially if you look at like just the Twitch numbers of people wanting to see it and wanting to play it, because the Rockstar servers are so exclusive with 5M. If you want to get in a good community, you don't have a chance to. Most of them right now are filled up by people that are streamers or just have clout or whatever, or just know somebody that knows somebody. So there's a huge demand for people to want to be like, have real serious interactions and roleplay, but not enough, I think, supply. So
yeah.
And then there's also like Star Citizen as an example of like,
oh my God,
when features are unbound by money, they're just like, whatever your heart desires, we will build it. And it's like, I've always been super suspicious of that mentality in anything, because like, I don't know, it's just totally unfeasible in my mind to be able to do everything well if you're doing everything.
That's true.
So but people still are hyped about it. I'm really curious to see.
So I dropped $40 on that game a couple of years ago.
Is it? I don't know what stage of development's in. I know that they've been kind of like having these soft releases of stuff, right? But
from when I bought it, I was able to like fly around a ship, and they have like a combat module. They keep showing off new stuff, but I don't know.
It'll never be done if you keep.
It's never gonna come out. It's like it's actually never gonna come out.
You can't release a game like that in parts, though.
No, that's the thing. But that's what they want to do.
Demo.
That's what they want to do. That's what they are doing.
Yeah.
They released the hangar module, so you can like explore this virtual hangar that you paid $200 for, and then you can fly the ships around, and then now it's like, oh, we're gonna release a single player story, but not the expansive multiplayer aspect, which is like what everybody wants to play. It's like, I don't know, it is kind of strange with the amount of funding they got too. Like,
I mean, that money goes quick. Game development is expensive, especially like when I think that's why I don't trust the feature kind of ad infinitum thing is like it's not like a one-to-one of like, okay, single player game, if we raise twice as much, now it's a multiplayer game. It's like, that's going to change everything about the single player game to make this work. But then also we raised all this much, so now it's going to be an FPS, and it's like, well, okay. And now it's going to be like a simulator of flying game. Like your physics now have to do 8 different things, like basically be 8 different games. So it's not like you're just getting 4 times more money. You need at least 8 times just for your physics, not even the multiplayer component. Like there's so many things that need to fit together for it to work. I think that's why they're breaking up into different parts, is because like I don't think there's a way it could functionally fit everything into one.
At least with like
engine.
5M and those servers, it's like held together very jankily, but you know that it's being done by like people, like individuals, you know, rather than like a big company.
But also, that wasn't its intention. You know,
obviously,
it's always nice when developers are like, here's the tools, what can you do with it, and then people come back and make something as popular as the original game was, right? Same story that happened with like, you know, Han and like Dota and some like Counter-Strike, those types of games.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say next is like, if you look at the history of all the big genres in gaming now, they've all come from mods, including Battle Royales came from like PUBG, from H1Z1, from Arma. Like these have been around for
Thank you for
ages.
saying Arma. A lot of people forget about Arma.
Of course.
I played
the fuck out of that when
I was like, there's something here.
They were all super janky, but like there was some magic to it, and it's just been refined again and again until now it's its own genre that's huge. And when I've talked to like at these, you know, consulting things, I've talked to shareholders who are like, what's the next Fortnite? Or like, when can I know what the next Fortnite is? And it's like, if you really want to know, then like look at what elements of mods have been like refined and made better and better over the years. If you look at like, you know, where like Battle Royales have come from, if you know where the survival game like DayZ spiraled out of Arma as well, but then from DayZ came this whole host of survival games that have now morphed into its own subgenre as well. Like you just got to keep tracking where the interest is and where these modders are able to kind of keep moving with the public, you know?
Right. Yeah. Awesome, dude. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Chilling with the crew, with the squad.
Thank you.
All right, sweet. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of CCTV, and we'll be back again 2 weeks from now with another very special guest. Actually, I don't know that for sure. They might not make it.
It might just be the normal.
Am I not a very special guest?
You're special.
You're definitely up there. Great, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hey, what's cooking, good looking? Oh, new sugar-free Jell-O cooked pudding with NutraSweet. Well, is it creamy, rich and smooth? Will the taste make your family groove? And with less calories, you keep looking good looking to me. New sugar-free Jell-O cooked pudding. 'Cause some folks are sweet enough without any sugar.